You've been calling money by the wrong name your entire life, and that's exactly why it keeps running away from you. What if I told you there's an ancient spiritual law so powerful that Florence Scovel Shinn herself said it could transform poverty into abundance with a single shift in how you speak? Most people recite affirmations for years and see nothing change, not because the law doesn't work, but because their casual conversations are secretly canceling every positive declaration they make. Today, I'm going to reveal the forgotten law of naming that Shinn discovered nearly a century ago. A law so precise that when you call money by its true name, it has no choice but to respond. Before we dive in, if you want to master the hidden laws of attraction that actually work, subscribe to Attraction Magnet right now and hit that notification bell, because what I'm about to share goes against everything mainstream manifestation teachers tell you, and you definitely don't want to miss this. There's a principle woven into the very fabric of reality that most people overlook, even though it operates as reliably as gravity. Everything in this universe responds to its name. Call a child across the playground, and they turn their head. Whistle for your dog, and he comes bounding toward you. Shout a friend's name across the street, and they raise their hand in recognition. You think money operates differently? It doesn't. Money isn't dead matter, lying dormant in a vault somewhere, waiting passively for you to stumble upon it. Money is energy, vibration, invisible substance clothed in physical form. And like everything else in creation, it responds when called by its true name. But here's the tragedy that keeps millions locked in financial struggle. Most people never call money by its name. Instead, they call it by false names like scarcity, burden, difficulty, expense, struggle. Then they wonder in bewilderment why it hides from them, why it seems to avoid their grasp no matter how hard they work. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this principle deeply when she wrote, "By your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned." This isn't poetic language or religious metaphor. It's precise spiritual mechanics. If you condemn money with your tongue, calling it scarce, calling it hard to get, calling it elusive, it must withdraw from you. But if you justify it, naming it correctly as abundant, obedient, and divinely supplied, it rushes toward your call. Why does this work? Because your subconscious mind functions like a perfect recording device, a phonograph that captures every word you speak, every phrase you repeat, every label you attach to anything in your experience. It doesn't argue with you, doesn't reason, doesn't say, "Oh, that was just a joke," or "They didn't really mean that." It simply records and then reproduces in physical form whatever you've named. Shinn told the story of a student who, exhausted from managing a household, would joke with friends saying, "I wish I could just live inside a trunk." Everyone laughed. Her friends thought it was funny. But the subconscious mind didn't laugh. It recorded that statement as an order, as a declaration of desired reality. Within months, circumstances shifted dramatically. The woman lost her home and found herself with nothing but a trunk of belongings. Do you see the terrifying precision of this law? What you name, you claim. What you call, you recall into your experience repeatedly. Every single word is a seed, and every seed produces fruit according to its kind. There are no exceptions, no special circumstances, no "I didn't mean it" clauses. The law operates mechanically, impersonally, perfectly. Now, imagine what happens when you've been assigning the wrong names to money day after day, year after year. It's so hard to make money. I can never get ahead. Money slips through my fingers. I can't afford that. Each of these casual phrases is a decree. Each one is a seed planted in the soil of your subconscious mind. And what harvest can such seeds possibly bring except more lack, more debt, more delay, more frustration? The tongue is the rudder of your life, Shinn taught. If you turn it toward scarcity, you sail straight into poverty. But the inverse is equally true, and this is where the power lies. If you call money by its correct name, if you say with conviction, "Money is divine substance, money is obedient to me, money serves me under grace in perfect ways," then your subconscious accepts this new recording. And once accepted, your life must reproduce it as supply, abundance, and ease. The shift isn't gradual or uncertain. It's mechanical and inevitable. Perhaps you're thinking, but how can words have so much power over something as real as money? Let me answer that with another question. How does a dog made of flesh and bone respond instantly to the sound of its name? How does a person stop mid-stride on a busy street when they hear someone call them? It's vibration. It's recognition. A name is a signal, and the ear is tuned to hear it, to respond to it. Money also carries vibration. Money also recognizes its name. When you call it poverty, when you call it scarcity, when you call it struggle, it contracts away from you. But when you call it abundance, when you call it divine supply, when you call it obedient servant, it expands toward you. This is why Shinn insisted repeatedly in her teachings that you must never again say, "I can't afford it." Those 4 words are a death sentence to your supply. Instead, say, "This comes to me under grace in perfect ways." Never say, "Money is hard to get." That's calling money by the name of difficulty, and difficulty is what you'll harvest. Say instead, "Money is obedient and comes to me easily." Never say, "It never stays." That's baptizing your money with the name of transience and loss. Say, "Money multiplies and increases while it serves me." Write this truth on your heart in letters of fire. Everything responds to its name. If you've been careless in naming money, if you've been casual and unconscious with your words, repent now. Cancel every false decree, every idle word, every careless joke. Replace them with truth. Call money by its right name. Speak to it as you would speak to a loyal friend, a faithful servant, a trusted companion. And money will respond, because the law cannot fail. What you name, you claim. And when you claim money correctly, it can no longer hide from you. Now, I'm going to tell you something sobering, something that explains why so many people live in lack, even while repeating affirmations and attending workshops and reading every manifestation book they can find. It's not that the law doesn't work. The law works perfectly, every single time without exception. The problem is that your tongue has been working against you all along. Careless naming blocks your supply more effectively than any external circumstance ever could. Every time you say, "I can't afford it," you've just called money impossible. Your subconscious recorded that declaration. Every time you sigh and say, "Money just slips through my fingers," you've named money as elusive, as something that refuses to stay with you. The law echoes your decree back to you in physical form. Every time you complain, "It's never enough," you've baptized your money with the name of insufficiency. And the harvest of insufficiency arrives faithfully on schedule. Florence Scovel Shinn was adamant about this point. She wrote, "Most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle. It is a game. And in this game, your words are your playing pieces. Move them carelessly, and you lose. Move them with intention, and you win." The subconscious mind is an obedient servant, perfectly neutral. It doesn't distinguish between a solemn declaration and a casual joke. It doesn't measure sincerity or check for irony. It simply hears, records, and reproduces. This is why your idle words, your throwaway phrases, your jokes designed to get laughs, these careless namings are the chains that bind your supply. Shinn recounted the story of a woman who, though comfortable financially, enjoyed joking with friends that she'd probably end up in the poorhouse. Everyone laughed. It seemed harmless. But the law doesn't laugh. The subconscious recorded that statement as instruction, as desired outcome. Over time, through a series of unfortunate events, the woman's fortune dissolved. Her comforts vanished. She ended up living in exactly the conditions she had prophesied in jest. She named money as poverty and loss, and money, being an obedient servant, responded to those names. Another student of Shinn's would constantly repeat, "Everything is so expensive. Nothing is within my reach." She didn't realize she was pushing her supply further away with every repetition. When Shinn finally taught her to cancel this false naming and say instead, "What I need appears easily, and I can afford it under grace," the tide turned dramatically. Almost immediately, the woman found herself provided for in unexpected ways. Gifts arrived, opportunities opened, money flowed. Not because the external world suddenly decided to favor her, but because she renamed her relationship with money. Do you see why I say that careless naming blocks supply? The law doesn't discriminate between deliberate affirmations and casual conversation. Both are seeds. Both produce fruit. If you speak truth for 5 minutes each morning, but lies for the remaining 23 hours and 55 minutes of your day, which seed wins? Which harvest fills your fields? This is why Scripture warns, "For every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account." There are no harmless words. There are no throwaway phrases. Every name you give to money either calls it to your hand or pushes it away. You might be asking, "But what if I've been careless for years? Haven't I already written countless false records into my subconscious? Haven't I already planted fields full of weeds?" Yes, you probably have. But don't despair. Here's the beautiful truth that Shinn discovered and taught throughout her life. The same tongue that wrote the false record can erase it. The same voice that planted weeds can uproot them. Declare with me right now, "I now shatter and dissolve every false record of poverty, lack, and debt in my subconscious mind. They return to the nothingness from which they came, for they came from vain imaginings. I now make my perfect records through the Christ within me, records of wealth, abundance, and limitless supply." Speak this with conviction, and you'll feel something shift in the atmosphere around you. The old recordings begin to crackle and fade. The new record starts to play. This is why I charge you today with this responsibility. Guard your speech as you would guard treasure. Never again call money difficult, scarce, or tight. Never again joke about being broke. Never again complain about expenses. Careless naming blocks. Careful naming multiplies. Call money by its right name, and it will come to you with joy, with speed, with absolute obedience until your cup overflows. Now, beloved student of these laws, let's look at the glorious reversal, the divine antidote to all the careless naming that has closed doors in your life. If false words imprison, true words liberate. If wrong names push supply away, the right name attracts it irresistibly to your hand. The law is impartial, operating in both directions with equal force. The same tongue that condemns is the tongue that justifies. The word that closes is the word that opens. Therefore, I declare to you, the right name opens the channel. Shinn tells of a woman overwhelmed by debt and exhaustion. Her daily speech consisted of constant complaints. "I'm always behind. I never catch up. Money runs away from me. I'm drowning in bills." When Shinn confronted her, she said firmly, "You're naming money as your enemy, and it, being an obedient servant, must respond to the name you give it. Reverse the name, and your condition will reverse." The woman resisted at first. She'd grown comfortable with her lamentations, addicted to the sympathy they generated. But eventually, she began declaring instead, "Money is divine substance. Money comes to me under grace in perfect ways. Money serves me and multiplies as it blesses me." The shift was dramatic and swift. Within weeks, unexpected funds arrived to clear her debts. Gifts came from surprising sources. Opportunities opened that had seemed impossible before. Nothing in the external world had fundamentally changed. The economy was the same. Her job was the same. But the name had changed, and with the name, everything else had to change to match it. So I ask you now, what name will you give to money? Will you continue calling it scarce, elusive, difficult, rebellious? Or will you begin today calling it divine, obedient, abundant, present? The world mocks this teaching. Skeptics say words are just air, just sound waves with no substance. But I'm telling you what Shinn told her students a century ago. Words are substance. Words are vibration. Words are seeds. Just as a farmer knows that wheat seed produces wheat and thorn seed produces thorns, you must know that words of lack harvest lack, while words of plenty harvest plenty. If you want wheat, don't plant weeds. If you want money, don't plant poverty. The right name is the seed of the right harvest. Perhaps you're thinking, what if I speak correctly, but nothing changes at first? What if I say these affirmations, and my bank account still looks the same? Don't be discouraged. Seeds don't sprout in a day. Records engraved over years take time to erase. But every time you speak the right name, you're cutting a new groove in your subconscious. Every time you look in the mirror and declare, "Money is obedient. Money comes to me now under grace," you're vibrating a new tone. And vibration adds to vibration, accumulates, builds, intensifies, until the entire atmosphere around you begins humming with your decree. Then, suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, the visible shifts to match the invisible. The external rearranges itself to reflect the internal. Don't abandon the field before harvest time. Farmers don't dig up seeds after 3 days to check if they're growing. They trust the process. They water. They wait. They know the law of the harvest is reliable. Do the same with your words. Continue naming money correctly, even if you see no immediate evidence. The evidence is forming beneath the surface, in the invisible realm where all manifestation originates. Shinn taught, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith isn't in what your eyes can see right now. Your faith is in the law itself, which never fails. Here's your assignment, and I want you to take this seriously. Never again call money by a false name. Refuse to say, "I can't afford it." Refuse to say, "Money never comes." Refuse to say, "It always leaves." Replace these death sentences with life sentences. Say, "Money is here now. Money is obedient to me. Money multiplies easily. Money is my servant and comes to me by divine right." Write these statements. Speak them aloud. See them reflected in your mirror. And watch as channels begin opening that were previously closed. You'll be astonished at how quickly the flow increases once it's no longer chained by your tongue, but released by your decree. The right name opens the channel, and once opened, no person and no circumstance can close it. There's something most people don't realize until they're already trapped in its grip. Debt doesn't begin in the ledger book. Debt doesn't start when you sign a loan document or swipe a credit card. Debt is spoken into existence by your tongue long before it manifests as numbers in red ink. Every sigh of "I can't afford this," every complaint of "I owe everyone and I'll never catch up," every casual statement like "there's too much month left at the end of the money." These idle words are the chisels that carve debt into the stone of your affairs. Florence Scovel Shinn was absolutely clear about this principle. She said, "You will be a failure until you impress the subconscious with the conviction you are a success." The same applies to debt. You will live in debt until you impress your subconscious with the conviction that you're free, supplied, and abundant. But how can you impress it with freedom when you're constantly impressing it with bondage? The subconscious, that faithful stenographer, records without judgment and reproduces without ceasing. When enough recordings accumulate, they form the conditions you call your financial reality. The collector at your door, the empty wallet, the growing balance, these are all echoes of old words, never revoked, never cancelled, allowed to play on repeat in the recording studio of your mind. Shinn counseled a man who lived in perpetual debt. He worked hard, earned well, but never advanced. When she listened to his speech patterns, she understood immediately. "I'm always behind. I owe everybody. I'll die owing money." His subconscious had been fed this menu for years, and his life faithfully reflected it. Shinn told him bluntly, "You've named yourself as debtor, and life honors the name you've given yourself." He was shocked. He thought his speech was harmless, just venting, just expressing frustration. But when he dared to change his words, when he began declaring daily, "God is my unfailing supply. I live in abundance. I pay everyone, and everyone pays me. I'm free from debt by divine right, under grace in perfect ways," the tide turned. Opportunities arose to settle what he owed. Unexpected checks arrived. His income increased. Within a year, he was completely free. The condition was debt. The root was words. When the words changed, the condition had no choice but to follow. Do you see now why no word is idle? Words are seeds. Seeds sprout. The field of your life doesn't stay barren. It produces fruit according to the seed planted. Sow lack, reap lack. Sow debt, reap debt. Sow abundance, reap abundance. The farmer who scatters thorns cannot protest when the field wounds his feet. The person who sows words of poverty cannot complain when their finances bleed them dry. Maybe you're saying, "But I was just joking. I was exaggerating. I was just venting frustration." The subconscious doesn't laugh. It doesn't measure sincerity. It doesn't check for sarcasm or hyperbole. It simply records and reproduces. This is why Scripture declares, "By your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned." It's not your intention that shapes your world. It's your emission. It's what comes out of your mouth, repeatedly, persistently, carelessly. This is how debt multiplies, not through lack of money, but through excess of wrong decrees on your lips. So cancel now every word of debt you've spoken. Withdraw every careless phrase. Say aloud, "I erase every false record of debt in my subconscious mind." These recordings return to nothingness, for they came from vain imaginings. I now record truth. I am free, supplied, prosperous, abundant. Repeat this until the new recording sounds louder than the old one. Look at yourself in the mirror and declare, "Money is my servant, not my master. Money comes to me, not debt. Money multiplies while debt dissolves." As you speak, the atmosphere changes. The harvest shifts. The chains break. Idle words create debt. Conscious words create freedom. The choice is yours. and the law will fulfill whatever decree you give it. Now, I want to address something subtle that has ruined more demonstrations than outright disbelief. Many people avoid frontal fear. They wouldn't dare make a solemn declaration of poverty. But they freely let their tongues loose in jest. They speak lightly about lack. They joke about ruin. They laugh about being broke, as if the subconscious could somehow be fooled by a chuckle. It can't. The subconscious doesn't laugh. It doesn't distinguish between a joke and a decree. It hears the vibration, records the phrase, reproduces it in form. A joke about poverty carries the same weight as a prophecy of poverty. A careless quip generates a careless harvest. Florence Scovel Shinn told of a comfortable woman who entertained friends by saying, "I bet I'll end up in the poorhouse." Laughter all around. Everyone thought it was hilarious. But life didn't laugh. The record was cut. The decree was issued. Years later, her fortune dwindled. Her comforts vanished. She found herself living in precisely the conditions she had joked about. Another student would exclaim dramatically, "I'm so broke, it's actually funny." Friends found it amusing, but her finances continued tightening until she came to Shinn, exhausted by the lack. Shinn told her firmly, "Stop calling poverty a joke. Name money correctly, abundant, obedient, yours by divine right." When the woman obeyed and removed the false phrases from her tongue, the tide turned immediately. The joke lost its power because it was no longer being spoken. Jokes can be more dangerous than serious confessions because they slip past your guard. You wouldn't dare say solemnly, "I'm going to end up destitute." But you might say it laughing, and the subconscious records it just the same. The law doesn't respect persons or tone. Whether you're crying or laughing, speaking seriously or jokingly, the vibration is recorded and will return to you as form. Therefore, I warn you, don't joke about lack. Don't say, "I'm broke," even in jest. Don't exaggerate your burdens for humor. Don't weave poverty into your comedy. If you want to use humor, let it agree with truth. If you're going to joke, joke about abundance. "I'm so provided for that. Even my shadow multiplies coins. Money runs to me so fast, I have to laugh to keep up." Let your humor plant good seeds, not thorns. Let it water the garden, not poison the well. Beloved, here's the safeguard for your demonstration. Guard your tongue. Shinn taught, "Your word is your wand." The tongue is both sword and scepter. It wounds when used carelessly. It reigns when wielded with mastery. It's the rudder of life. If your ship has been heading toward the rocks of lack, don't blame the winds. Look at the rudder. What have you been saying day after day about money? The rudder has charted the course. Only the rudder can alter it. Guarding your tongue doesn't mean staying silent. It means being disciplined. The tongue shouldn't be chained, but trained. Trained to bless, not curse. To speak life, not death. To call money by its right name. To prophesy abundance, not lack. To declare obedience, not rebellion. When you say, "I can't afford it," you've cast a curse on your supply. When you say, "Money comes to me under grace in perfect ways," you've cast a blessing. Both are decrees. Both are orders to the subconscious. Both are seeds in the soil of spirit. Guarding your tongue means catching yourself in the act of false speech and immediately pivoting to truth. It means canceling the careless decree and replacing it with the righteous one. One of Shinn's students would repeat affirmations faithfully each morning but saw little result. She finally confessed that throughout the rest of her day, she'd complain, "I'm broke. I can't manage. Everything costs too much." Shinn told her plainly, You're planting roses in the morning and weeds all afternoon. What do you expect to grow?" The woman wept. She saw her own self-sabotage. From that day forward, she guarded her mouth like a sentinel. Whenever the temptation to speak lack arose, she stopped herself and declared instead, "God is my instant, constant, and abundant supply." Within weeks, the signs appeared. The roses she'd planted with her tongue covered over the weeds, and her life blossomed. See how simple the law is? You don't need to toil endlessly. You don't need to beg. You need to guard your tongue. Every careless phrase is a leak in the vessel of your prosperity. Every guarded phrase is a plank in the ark of abundance. If you want to live free from need, build your ark word by word. Make your speech a fortress. Let nothing false escape your lips, and watch everything true rush to your hands. Now I'm going to give you one of Florence Scovel Shinn's most powerful practical techniques, one that works so reliably that students have reported manifestations within days of implementing it. It's called the mirror technique, and it works because it combines three elements that create an irresistible impression on the subconscious mind: the spoken word, the visual image, and the emotional response. The mirror isn't just glass, it's a portal to the hidden chamber of the soul. When you stand before it, you're not just seeing your face, you're seeing the image of your own identity. The subconscious accepts whatever image you hold of yourself as truth. If each morning you look in the mirror and sigh, thinking tired, poor, unlucky, your subconscious records that image and decrees it as your law. But if you see the word of abundance blazing before your eyes, united with your own reflection, the subconscious cannot resist. It merges the word with the image, fuses decree with identity, and says, "This is who I am. This is my law." Then the outer world must correspond. The mirror works because it's repetition without effort. You might grow tired of repeating affirmations for hours. The mirror repeats for you. Every time you pass by, your eyes catch the word. Your mind absorbs it. The subconscious records it. Drop by drop, the groove opens until it becomes a river. And when the river of thought runs strong, it carries with it all the circumstances of life. This is why Shinn taught, write the word where you will see it daily, where you cannot avoid it, where your own reflection becomes one with it. What you see united with yourself, you become. A woman wrote a single word on her mirror: wealth. Morning and night, she saw herself beside it. She didn't strain or effort. She simply let the image sink into her heart. Within 1 week, an unexpected check for $50,000 arrived in her hands. A mistake from a florist turned into law. Gratitude had fertilized the seed. Why does the mirror hold such force? Because it unites word and image. Speaking is powerful. Seeing the word attached to your face is more powerful still. The subconscious is most deeply impressed when spoken word, seen image, and felt emotion unite. The mirror facilitates this trinity. When you look, speak, and rejoice in the word you see, you create an irresistible impression. Treat your mirror as an altar. Write boldly. Look daily. Speak with faith. Feel with joy. Then watch your life reflect what the mirror has already declared. Write statements like, "Money obeys me. Abundance is my name. I am richly supplied." Use bold letters, bright colors. Make it impossible to ignore. Every glance becomes an affirmation. Every affirmation becomes belief. Every belief becomes demonstration. Another secret: silence protects the seed. The farmer doesn't dig up the seed to show neighbors. He covers it, waters it, guards it until the sprout emerges. Do the same with your word. Write on your mirror, but don't expose it to mockers. Don't hand it over to skeptics. Don't invite the cold wind of doubt or the frost of ridicule. Guard it in secret until manifestation. Premature testimony invites interference. Once the fruit appears, no doubt can erase it. But before that, one careless suggestion can weaken the root. Silence is the fence around the garden, and water with thanksgiving. Without gratitude, your word is seed in dry soil. With it, the seed breaks through and fruit comes quickly. Gratitude is proof of possession. When you rejoice before you see, you're declaring to the law, "It's already mine." And the law responds, "So be it." Don't wait for money to arrive before giving thanks. Give thanks now. Smile at the mirror. Point to the word and say, "I praise and thank you, for this is already true. My supply is here. My abundance is established under grace in perfect ways." Joy is the sound of harvest ripening. Gratitude is the rain that brings it forth. There's also identity. The word on the mirror isn't separate from you. True demonstration happens when word and self become one. Until you see the word as your own name, you'll tend to chase it. But when you can say calmly, unshakably, "I am this," the invisible rushes to clothe itself in form. The subconscious doesn't resist identity. It embraces it and amplifies it. I am prosperity. Money serves me now. Abundance is my name. At first it may sound strange. Repeat it before the mirror until strange becomes natural. Then circumstances bow to the inner image. Use the mirror daily. Make it a ritual. Let no morning pass without seeing your word. Let no night close without speaking your decree. Simple, consistent, powerful. This is Shinn's mirror technique, and it works because it impresses the subconscious through multiple channels simultaneously. Sight, sound, and feeling all agreeing on one truth. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the massive obstacle that blocks more demonstrations than any other single factor. Fear. Fear is faith inverted, a false decree dressed in trembling. Every what if is a name given to evil, and the law records it faithfully. When you call money with the voice of fear, you're not calling it as friend or servant. You're calling it as enemy, as absence, as lack. And being obedient, it responds to that name. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote extensively about fear. She said, "You must live fully in the now to make it the happiest moment of your life. The now is the only time you have control of. Fear lives in the future, worrying about what hasn't happened. Fear rehearses disaster. Fear practices poverty. And what you practice, you perfect. What you rehearse, you perform." Fear is simply faith in the wrong outcome. And since the law is neutral, it will demonstrate whatever you have faith in, wanted or unwanted. The good news is this: the same power that created lack through fear can dissolve it through faith. Cancel the decrees of fear. Say aloud, "I erase every decree of fear from my subconscious mind. They are nothing. I declare truth instead. I am supplied, abundant, fearless in the law of good." Faith isn't tense effort. It's calm agreement with God. Faith signs the contract that heaven already wrote. It doesn't create supply. It agrees that supply is already prepared. This is why affirmations fail when your lips speak, but your heart agrees with lack. Change the agreement of your heart. God is my unfailing supply. I am one with His abundance. I give thanks. It is done. Say it not as one who forces, but as one who agrees with what is. Shinn taught the law of substitution. The mind cannot hold two thoughts simultaneously. When the old recording plays, "I can't afford it," substitute immediately. "I can afford it under grace. God is my supply." Money never stays, becomes money multiplies and increases as it serves me. Repetition cuts a new groove. The old record dissolves. As for the walls of lack, don't tear them down with a hammer. Tear them down with sound, just as the walls of Jericho fell. Circle them silently in your inner world. Then, at the appointed moment, shout, "The walls of lack and delay now crumble. I enter my promised land under grace in perfect ways." Speak until you feel the vibration. See with your inner eye the stones on the ground. Watch the path open. This is not visualization as daydreaming. This is knowing, decree, command. Put money in its proper place in the divine design. It's not your master. It's your servant. Money exists to clothe, feed, shelter, and allow you to bless others. When misnamed, it becomes an idol. When properly placed, it's an obedient instrument. Declare, "Money is divine, money is obedient, money serves me and cannot enslave me." Thus it flows naturally, effortlessly, aligned with your gifts. On the forbidden, the world whispers that it's wrong to command, name, or claim money boldly. With this teaching, heirs live as beggars. What the world calls forbidden is often merely hidden, waiting for faith to reveal it. Like open sesame, treasures respond to the right word. You're not commanding God. You're commanding the law, God in action. You're not stealing what isn't yours. You're claiming your inheritance, sealing everything. Speak. Words heard inspire. Words spoken transform. Stand before your mirror and say, "Money, you are divine. You are obedient. You come to me now by divine right, under grace in perfect ways. You serve me and cannot enslave me. Not as one who begs, but as one who commands. Not as one who hopes, but as one who knows." Write on your mirror today. Don't argue. Don't broadcast it in conversation. Write, guard, bless, until it becomes your name. Then testify, not from vanity, but as proof of law. I called money by name, and it responded. Now I'm going to reveal something that Florence Scovel Shinn considered one of the most dangerous phrases in human language. A phrase so commonly used that nearly everyone speaks it multiple times per day without realizing they're canceling their demonstrations with each utterance. This phrase has blocked more miracles, destroyed more manifestations, and kept more people in poverty than perhaps any other combination of words. Are you ready to know what it is? The forbidden phrase is, "I can't afford it." 4 simple words, innocent seeming, socially acceptable, practically automatic. But spiritually, these 4 words are a death sentence to your supply. Every time you say, "I can't afford it," you're doing several catastrophic things simultaneously. First, you're declaring limitation as your truth. Second, you're naming money as absent. Third, you're identifying yourself as unable, powerless, and lacking. Fourth, you're impressing your subconscious with a decree of impossibility. And fifth, you're creating a vibrational barrier between yourself and the very thing you desire. Shinn was absolutely ruthless about eliminating this phrase. She told her students, "Never, under any circumstances, use those words. They are a curse upon your supply. They are poison to your demonstration." She instructed them to replace "I can't afford it" with "This comes to me under grace in perfect ways," or "God is my instant and abundant supply," or simply "I accept this in divine timing." You might protest, but what if it's true? What if I literally don't have the money? That's precisely the point. Speaking the limitation keeps it true. The whole purpose of this teaching is to break the cycle, to stop perpetuating the condition you want to change. Remember, your subconscious doesn't argue with you about facts. It simply records what you say and works to make it so. If you keep saying, "I can't afford it," your subconscious keeps working to ensure you can't afford it. You're actively maintaining your own poverty. Shinn gave a powerful alternative. Whenever you see something you want but don't currently have the money for, say, "That is mine under grace in a perfect way." Or, "I give thanks for divine abundance, now made manifest." This isn't denial of current circumstances. It's a shift in vibration, a change in decree, a new seed planted that will produce a new harvest. Another forbidden phrase, "Money doesn't grow on trees." This saying, repeated millions of times daily, is a decree of limitation. It declares that money is difficult, scarce, and unnatural to obtain. Every time you say it, especially to children, you're programming limitation into another generation. Shinn would counter, "Money grows wherever I plant my faith. My supply is unlimited because God is unlimited." A third forbidden phrase, "I'm broke." Even said jokingly, this is a powerful negative affirmation. You're naming yourself as broken, depleted, empty. Your subconscious accepts this identity and works to maintain it. Replace it immediately with, "I am abundantly supplied," or "Money flows to me constantly." One more, "Money is the root of all evil." This misquote from Scripture has done incalculable damage. The actual Scripture says, "The love of money is the root of all evil," a completely different statement. But millions say the shortened version, effectively cursing money itself. If you believe money is evil, why would your subconscious allow you to have it? You'd be calling evil to yourself. Shinn taught, "Money is divine substance. Money is good. Money is God in action, taking form to serve and bless." The practice. For the next 30 days, completely eliminate these forbidden phrases from your vocabulary. Not just in formal affirmations, but in casual conversation. Not just when you're consciously working on manifestation, but all day, every day. Catch yourself. Correct yourself. Refuse to let these death sentences pass your lips. You'll be shocked at how often you've been speaking them. You'll be amazed at how different your life becomes when you stop. Replace every forbidden phrase with a life-giving one. "I can't afford it" becomes, "This comes to me under grace." "Money doesn't grow on trees" becomes, "My supply is limitless." "I'm broke" becomes, "I am abundantly provided for." "Money is evil" becomes, "Money is divine substance serving good." This is the work. This is where demonstration happens. Not in the big dramatic moments, but in these small, constant, daily choices of speech. Guard your tongue like a treasure, because it is the key to your vault. The right words open the door. The wrong words lock it shut. Choose wisely, speak consciously, and watch your world transform. Now let's go deeper into the spiritual mechanics, the hidden laws that govern manifestation. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that there's an invisible realm where all things exist in perfect form before they appear in the visible world. She called this the realm of the perfect pattern, the divine design. Everything that can ever manifest already exists there, waiting to be called forth into form by the power of your word. This is why she taught, "Your word is your wand. You are the magician waving your wand over the great void, and from this void comes the substance of your affairs." Most people don't realize they're magicians. They think they're victims of circumstance, subject to random fate. But Shinn revealed the truth. You are creator, speaking your world into existence moment by moment, word by word, The spiritual mechanics work like this. The invisible realm contains infinite substance, formless, ready to take any shape. Your thoughts give it initial direction, but your words give it specific form. When you speak, you're actually molding invisible substance, shaping it, crystallizing it. The more specific your word, the more definite the form. The more repetitive your word, the more solid the manifestation. The more feeling behind your word, the faster it appears. This is why vague affirmations often fail. I want more money is too general, too undefined. More than what? When? For what purpose? The universe needs specificity. Shinn taught her students to be precise. I am abundantly supplied with everything I need for this day and for this purpose, under grace in perfect ways. This is specific enough to create form, but open enough to allow divine intelligence to fulfill it in unexpected ways. There's also the law of non-resistance that Shinn emphasized constantly. She wrote, "Nothing can interfere with God's perfect plan for you unless you resist it. Resistance is fear dressed as wisdom. Resistance says, I must control exactly how this comes, or it can only happen this one way." But when you relax into trust, when you say, "under grace in perfect ways," you're allowing divine intelligence to orchestrate circumstances in ways your limited human mind could never imagine. A student once wanted a specific amount of money by a specific date. She affirmed, visualized, did everything right, but nothing came. She grew frustrated and came to Shinn asking what was wrong. Shinn asked her, "Why do you need that exact amount on that exact date?" The woman explained her reasoning, her plan, her logic. Shinn said, "You're trying to be God instead of letting God be God. Surrender the how and the when. Keep the what clear, but release the rest." The woman did. She changed her affirmation to, "I am divinely supplied with everything I need, when I need it, in ways that bless everyone involved." Within days, something better than her original plan manifested. The exact amount came, but in a way that also solved 3 other problems she hadn't even included in her affirmation. This is the magic of under grace in perfect ways. It allows the universe to exceed your imagination. There's also the principle of imaging. Shinn taught that you must see clearly in your imagination what you're calling forth, not as fantasy or wishful thinking, but as reality already accomplished. The imaging faculty plays a leading part in the game of life, she wrote. Your imagination is the workshop where miracles are constructed before appearing in the physical. But here's the key. You must image from the end, not from the beginning. Don't see yourself striving, struggling, trying to get money. See yourself already in possession, already enjoying the fulfilled desire. See yourself opening the envelope with the check. See yourself making the purchase. See yourself freely giving to others because you have abundance to share. This end result imaging impresses the subconscious far more powerfully than process imaging. Couple this with feeling. Feeling is the fertilizer of the seed. An affirmation without feeling is a seed without water. Shinn said, "You must act as if to make manifest." If you're affirming abundance but feeling poverty, you're working against yourself. If you're speaking supply but feeling lack, the feeling will win. Therefore, cultivate the feeling of abundance now. Feel grateful now. Feel prosperous now. Feel wealthy in spirit now. Then the physical must follow to match the vibration you're consistently holding. Here's a spiritual secret that Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized repeatedly. Gratitude is not just a nice spiritual practice. It's a law of increase. When you give thanks for what you have, you're declaring to the universe, "I have received." And that declaration of receiving is actually a vibration of attraction that pulls more toward you. Conversely, when you complain about what you lack, you're declaring, "I have not received," and that vibration pushes supply away. Shinn wrote, "Gratitude is closely allied to love, and love dissolves all unlike itself. When you're genuinely grateful, you're in harmony with the flow of divine abundance. When you're complaining, you're in resistance to that flow. It's really that simple. Gratitude opens, complaint closes, thanksgiving expands, grumbling contracts. The practice is this: give thanks for your current supply, no matter how small it seems. Give thanks for the food you eat, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back. Give thanks for the money that does come to you, even if it's not as much as you want. Give thanks for unexpected gifts, surprising discounts, found pennies on the street. Train your consciousness to notice and appreciate every form of supply, and you'll find supply increasing. But go further. Give thanks for the supply that hasn't yet appeared in physical form. This is advanced practice, but it's incredibly powerful. Say, "I give thanks for the abundant supply coming to me now under grace in perfect ways." Notice the present tense. Not "that will come," but "that is coming." That is here now in the invisible, rushing to manifest in the visible. Shinn told a story of a woman who needed $1,000 urgently. The woman came to Shinn in tears, desperate. Shinn said, "Stop crying and start thanking. Say, 'I give thanks for the $1,000 that is mine now under grace.'" The woman protested, "But I don't have it." Shinn replied firmly, "You have it in the spiritual realm. Give thanks, and it will cross into the physical." The woman obeyed. She dried her tears and began saying, "Thank you for my $1,000, repeatedly throughout the day. She said it with as much feeling as she could muster. Within 3 days, in a way she never could have predicted, the exact amount came to her. Not 900, not 1,100, exactly $1,000. This is the power of gratitude combined with specific declaration. Gratitude also protects your demonstration from being stolen or canceled. When something good comes to you, immediately give thanks, rather than announcing it carelessly to everyone. Premature announcement invites jealousy, doubt, and negative comment from others. These vibrations can actually weaken or delay your manifestation. But thanksgiving seals it, surrounds it with protective light, and accelerates its arrival. Make gratitude your default setting. When you wake up, before your feet hit the floor, say, "Thank you for this day and all the good it contains." When you eat, say, "Thank you for this abundant nourishment." When you pay a bill, say, "Thank you that I have money to pay this and much more besides." Train your tongue to bless, not curse. Train your mind to see supply, not lack. Train your heart to appreciate, not complain. Shinn promised, "When you show appreciation for what you have, the universe will send you more to appreciate." This is law, not sentiment. Test it. Prove it. Give thanks consistently for 30 days and watch your world change. Gratitude is the gateway to increase, the password to the vault of infinite supply. Florence Scovel Shinn taught something that sounds almost too simple to be powerful, but it's actually one of the most potent practices you can implement. Bless everything, especially money itself. She would tell her students, "Bless your bills, bless your wallet, bless the money that comes and goes. Never curse it, never fear it, never resent it." Most people do the opposite. When a bill arrives, they curse it. "Oh no, another bill." When money leaves their account, they grip in fear. "There goes my money again." When they see someone else with wealth, they resent it. Must be nice to have money like that. Every one of these responses is a curse, a negative decree, a repelling vibration. And what you curse, you separate yourself from. Shinn taught the opposite practice. When a bill arrives, say, "I bless this bill and the service it represents. I give thanks that I have the resources to pay it under grace in perfect ways." When you pay for something, say, "I bless this money as it goes out to circulate and bless others. I know it returns to me multiplied." When you see someone else with wealth, say, "I bless their abundance. I rejoice in proof that wealth exists and is available to all." This practice might feel awkward at first. Your ego will resist. Why should I bless a bill I don't want to pay? Because blessing it removes the emotional charge, the resistance, the fear. It transforms your relationship with money from adversarial to harmonious. It declares, "I am not victim to money. I am master of money. Money serves me, and I bless its service." Shinn particularly emphasized blessing money as it leaves your hands. Most people clutch money in fear, sad to see it go. This clutching, this fearful releasing, is a vibration that says, there isn't enough, it won't come back. And the universe, reading that vibration, makes it so. But when you release money with blessing, with joy, with confidence that it circulates and returns multiplied, you're sending a completely different message. There is plenty. It flows freely. It always returns to me increased. One woman told Shinn she could barely afford groceries. Shinn instructed her, "When you pay for your groceries, bless the money as you hand it over. Say silently, 'I bless this money. It goes out to bless others and returns to me multiplied under grace.'" The woman thought it was strange, but obeyed. Within a week, someone gave her an unexpected gift of food. Within 2 weeks, she received a small inheritance she didn't know was coming. Within a month, her income had doubled. Nothing external had changed except her vibration, shifted through blessing instead of cursing. The opposite of blessing is cursing, and cursing comes in many subtle forms. "I hate paying bills" is a curse. "Money is so hard to make" is a curse. "The rich get richer, and the poor get poorer" is a curse. Every one of these statements is a decree that shapes your reality. If you hate paying bills, you'll always have bills you hate to pay. If you say money is hard to make, it will be hard for you. If you believe the system is rigged, you'll experience it as rigged. But you can shift this instantly through conscious blessing. I'm grateful for the services these bills provide. Money comes to me easily and naturally. Wealth is available to everyone, including me. These aren't just positive thoughts. They're vibrational shifts, changes in the electromagnetic field around you, actual alterations in the fabric of your experience. Shinn also taught to bless your enemies, those who owe you money, those who have wronged you financially. "Resentment is a hook that keeps you attached to the very thing you want to escape," she wrote. "When you resent someone who owes you money, you're vibrationally tied to lack. When you bless them and release them, you're free to receive from unexpected sources. The money you're owed might not come from them at all. It might come in 10 other ways, all better, all easier, all more abundant. But it can't come as long as you're hooked into resentment. Practice this. For the next 7 days, bless everything related to money. Bless your wallet. Bless your bank account. Bless your bills. Bless the money coming in. Bless the money going out. Bless the rich. Bless the poor. Bless your creditors. Bless your debtors. Bless every financial transaction you make, no matter how small. Watch what happens. Watch how quickly the flow increases. Watch how much lighter you feel. Blessing doesn't cost you anything, but it pays dividends beyond measure. Now let's bring all of this together into practical daily practices you can implement immediately. Florence Scovel Shinn believed in combining spiritual understanding with practical application. She didn't just teach theory, she gave specific techniques that produce results. Here are the daily practices that will help you consistently call money by its right name. Stand before your mirror, the one where you've written your money affirmations. Look yourself in the eye and speak these declarations aloud. I am one with infinite abundance. Money is divine substance, obedient to my command. Today, money comes to me under grace in perfect ways. I am richly supplied with everything I need and desire. My word is law, and I now decree abundance, prosperity, and financial freedom. Say these or similar statements with conviction, feeling, and authority. Don't mumble, don't rush. Speak as if you're issuing orders to the universe, because you are. Shinn said, "Your word is your wand." Wave your wand with intention. Vigilantly monitor your casual speech. Every time you catch yourself about to say, "I can't afford it," or "I'm broke," or any variation of lack, stop immediately. Cancel the statement aloud if necessary. I cancel that. What I meant to say is, I am abundantly supplied under grace. This interruption and correction might feel awkward at first, especially in public. Do it anyway. Your demonstration depends on it. Also, practice blessing money every time you interact with it. When you receive money, even a small amount, say, "Thank you," "Welcome," multiply and return. When you spend money, say, "I bless this money." Go and circulate. Return to me multiplied. I make every financial transaction a spiritual practice. Sometime in the middle of your day, pause for 2 minutes. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Then say silently or aloud, I am divinely supplied. My every need is met. Money flows to me constantly, easily, and joyfully. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine now. This midday reset prevents the accumulation of fearful or negative thoughts about money. Before bed, do 2 things. First, write in a gratitude journal. List at least 5 things related to supply or abundance that you're grateful for from that day. Even if it's as simple as, I had food to eat, write it down. This trains your consciousness to notice and appreciate supply, which attracts more supply. Second, do Shinn's imaging practice. Close your eyes and vividly imagine your life as if your financial desires are already fulfilled. Don't see yourself trying to get money. See yourself having it, using it, enjoying it, blessing others with it. Engage all your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Make it as real as possible in your imagination. Hold this image for at least 3 minutes, then release it with trust. It is done. I give thanks. So it is. Once a week, do a thorough review of your money consciousness. Sit down with a notebook and honestly answer these questions. What did I say about money this week? Where did I speak lack instead of abundance? Where did I complain instead of give thanks? What fears came up, and how did I handle them? What evidence of supply did I notice and appreciate? How can I speak more consciously about money next week? This weekly audit keeps you honest and helps you identify patterns you need to change. Shinn believed in ruthless self-honesty. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Whenever you notice lack in any area, Shinn taught a powerful technique. Speak directly to the apparent deficit. If your bank account is low, speak to it. I now call upon the law of divine supply to fill this void. What appears as lack is merely space being cleared for greater good. I claim my good now under grace. This transforms deficit from problem to opportunity, from evidence of failure to space for miracle. Never discuss your financial problems casually. Never gossip about lack. Never complain about money to friends. Shinn was adamant about this. She said, "Talking about your troubles is the biggest mistake you can make. When you repeatedly discuss your financial problems, you're affirming them, strengthening them, inviting them to stay. If you must discuss finances, speak only of solutions, possibilities, and faith in divine supply." These practices work because they're consistent, specific, and they engage both conscious mind and subconscious programming. Do them daily for 30 days, and you won't recognize your financial reality. The change won't be gradual or subtle. It will be dramatic and undeniable. This is the power of calling money by its right name, consistently, persistently, faithfully. So here we are, at the end of this teaching, and if you've truly absorbed what I've shared, you're not the same person who started reading. You now know something that most people will never understand. That words create worlds. That speech shapes substance. That your tongue is the most powerful tool you possess for creating your financial reality. Florence Scovel Shinn spent her life teaching these principles. And they worked then exactly as they work now because spiritual law doesn't change. What she discovered nearly a century ago remains true today. Everything responds to its name. Money is no exception. Call it by false names, and it withdraws. Call it by its true name, and it rushes to serve you. You've learned the danger of careless speech, the power of the right name, the mechanics of the subconscious, the mirror technique, the practice of blessing, and the daily disciplines that maintain your demonstration. But knowledge without application is worthless. Seeds that stay in the packet never grow. You must plant what you've learned. You must speak what you now know. You must practice these principles daily, not perfectly, but consistently. I want to be clear about something. This teaching will challenge you. Your old habits will fight back. The people around you may not understand. The world will tell you it's nonsense. Your own doubts will arise. In those moments, remember Shinn's words. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You're not walking by sight. You're walking by law, and the law never fails. Some of you will test these principles and see results within days. Others may take weeks or months, not because the law isn't working, but because you have deeper patterns to uproot, older recordings to erase. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Just keep speaking truth. Keep calling money by its right name. Keep blessing instead of cursing. Keep thanking instead of complaining. The harvest will come. It must come. It's law. I also want to address those who are in dire circumstances right now, facing eviction, drowning in debt, unable to feed your family. To you, I say, don't despair. Shinn witnessed miracles in impossible situations. She saw last-minute rescues, unexpected windfalls, divine interventions that defied logic. Your situation is not too hard for the law. Your need is not too great for infinite supply. But you must do your part. You must stop speaking the problem and start speaking the solution. You must cancel every decree of lack and replace it with a decree of abundance. You must act as if even when circumstances scream otherwise. And to those who are comfortable but want more, who are good but desire great, who are provided for but envision abundance, don't apologize for that desire. It's not greedy to want financial freedom. It's not selfish to desire abundance. It's actually your spiritual duty to demonstrate the law. to prove that God's supply is infinite, to become a channel through which blessing flows to others. But you must first receive before you can give. So claim your abundance boldly, unapologetically, joyfully. Now here's my challenge to you, and it's the same challenge Shinn gave her students. Commit to 30 days of conscious speech about money. 30 days of calling money by its right name. 30 days of catching and correcting every false statement. 30 days of blessing instead of cursing. 30 days of thanking instead of complaining. 30 days of declaring abundance even when you see lack. Can you do that? Can you discipline your tongue for just 1 month? If you can, I promise you this. Your life will not be the same on day 31. The change might be subtle or dramatic, but it will be undeniable. Money will show up in unexpected ways. Opportunities will appear from nowhere. Debts will dissolve. Income will increase. And more importantly, your consciousness will shift. You'll no longer be a victim of circumstances. You'll be a creator, a demonstrator, a master of the law. Before I release you to begin this work, I want to give you one final gift from Florence Scovel Shinn. It's a statement she considered one of the most powerful in her entire teaching. She instructed students to say it daily, especially when facing financial challenges. Here it is. I am one with God, and God is one with me. Therefore, I am one with all the riches, all the abundance, all the supply in the universe. There is no lack in God. Therefore, there can be no lack in me. I now claim my divine inheritance under grace in perfect ways. I am richly and abundantly supplied, now and forever. And so it is. Read that aloud right now. Feel the power of those words. Write them in your mirror. Speak them daily. Let them become your truth. Because they are your truth, whether you've been experiencing it or not. You are heir to infinite supply. You are child of abundance. You are one with all the wealth of the universe. Start acting like it. Start speaking like it. Start believing it. And watch your world transform. If this teaching has opened your eyes, if you've felt something shift inside you as you've read, then you need to stay connected to this wisdom. Don't let this be a one-time encounter. Don't let these truths fade as you go back into the noise of daily life. Subscribe to Attraction Magnet right now and turn on notifications because I'll be sharing more of Florence Scovel Shinn's forgotten teachings, more spiritual laws that actually work, more practical techniques for transforming your life through the power of your word. In upcoming teachings, I'll reveal the specific phrases Shinn taught for healing, for relationships, for protection, for opening doors that seem permanently closed. I'll show you the technique she used for instant demonstration, the method she called speaking the word that produced miracles on demand. I'll expose the hidden blocks that sabotage even the best affirmations, and I'll give you the exact corrections that remove those blocks forever. This channel exists for one purpose: to revive the real laws of attraction, not the watered-down, commercialized version you see everywhere, but the deep spiritual mechanics that mystics and metaphysicians have known for centuries. If you're hungry for truth, if you're ready to stop playing games and start demonstrating real results, if you're done with surface-level teaching and ready for the deep work, then this is your community. Comment below and tell me, what false name have you been calling money? What will you start calling it instead? I read every comment, and I want to hear your commitment. When you declare your intention publicly, you're sealing it in the visible realm. You're making yourself accountable. You're inviting the universe to witness your decree. So don't be shy. Speak up. Tell me and this entire community. Today I stop calling money false name. From now on, I call money true name. And if you found value in this teaching, share it with someone who needs it. Don't hoard spiritual knowledge. It multiplies when shared. Someone in your life is struggling financially right now, speaking poverty, cursing money, wondering why nothing changes. Send them this video. Give them the gift of understanding. Be a channel of blessing. That's how the law works. You receive so you can give, and the giving ensures you continue receiving. One more thing before you go. I want you to look in a mirror right now, today, before the sun sets. Look yourself in the eye and say these words: I am calling money by its true name from this moment forward. Money is divine. Money is obedient. Money is my faithful servant. I speak, and it comes. I decree, and it appears. My word is law, and I now claim abundance under grace in perfect ways. So it is. Amen. Say it with authority. Say it with faith. Say it with the full conviction of someone who knows they're heir to infinite supply. Then watch what happens. Watch how quickly the universe responds to your new vibration. Watch how fast circumstances shift to match your changed consciousness. And when the demonstration comes, when the money appears, when the miracle manifests, come back and testify. Share your victory so others can be encouraged. That's how we build a community of demonstrators, of masters, of those who know the law and use it with power. Thank you for investing this time in your financial transformation. Thank you for being open to truth, even when it challenges your old beliefs. Thank you for having the courage to change your speech, to guard your tongue, to call money by its right name. You're not just changing your bank account, you're changing your consciousness. And that's a change that will bless every area of your life for years to come. Subscribe to Attraction Magnet. Hit that notification bell. Join the community of conscious creators. And most importantly, start speaking truth today. Your transformation has already begun. The only question is how far you're willing to take it. I believe in you. The law believes in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. Until next time, remember, your word is your wand. Wave it wisely. Speak deliberately. Call money by its name. And watch abundance flood your life under grace, in perfect ways, beyond anything you've imagined. Go now and demonstrate. The world is waiting for your proof. Amen.